Hi, my name is Hank Kahn, Director of Professional Services at ACG, and today we're going to discuss ATEC TCRs. If you're looking to optimize your TCR solution or increase cache management efficiency, you're in the right place. In this video, we will be discussing specifications and advantages of the LTA series of ATEC TCRs. On your left is the LTA 450, the largest of the ATEC TCRs, and on your right is the LTA 380, which really represents the mid-range of the LTA line. There is a smaller version that we'll cover in a separate video. Both of these machines are mechanically identical. There's almost a one-to-one parts compatibility, the difference really being in the cassettes themselves, with the 450 having the larger cassettes. That means that they both have the industry largest screen of 8 inches. They both have the fastest note path in the industry at 12 notes per second. And as we said before, they have the largest capacity, not only in their class, but for all TCRs. Similarly, both have a linear build path, meaning the entire build path is outside of the safe. So any jam or other issue that a teammate may encounter would be easy to handle without going into the safe. Likewise, there are no cassettes outside of the safe. So no transit cassette, nothing else needs to be added to perform an audit or anything else. That means the operational cassette, which we'll cover later, is inside of the safe. And lastly, of advantages, it offers a duress dispense that offers instant access to law enforcement or teammates to get serial numbers in the event of a robbery. And both of them, most importantly, offer a self-audit feature, which is a secure, unattended self-audit, meaning at the end of the day, a teammate or teller can just set off the audit, go about their task doing other things, and wait until the TCR is finished. As we talk about a demo for either of these units, we're just going to stay focused on the 380, but remember, everything is the same for both units. There are really no differences here. We like to think about the unit in 3 different sections. One is the vault section here below. This middle section is referred to as the CAM or customer access module, and we refer to the screen and the information that it presents as the user access or user access module. So it's easiest to start in the safe, and we can show that. So the safe is protected by a lock. This is a plastic door. What you'll see here is an on-off rocker switch. This is the master power for the TCR, and below it is the power button. So to turn power on or off, the master switch has to be on. You press and hold the power button for about 4 seconds, and you're presented with an on-screen menu for shutting it down, which would ask you if you want to restart or shut down. On the top part, or on the restart part, it would just start the machine up. So again, one key, plastic front case, which exposes the safe and really the beginnings of the CAM and the upper build path itself. We're starting with the safe unlocked. So this can hold up to 9 separate users. It can either be in single control or dual control, and this lock comes standard with the ATEC TCR. It is the same on the LTA 450. Opening the safe after your combination has been put in is as simple as opening the door, and here you're presented with 2 options. One is if you want to take overflow cache out of the machine, or you want to supplement cache from your main vault back into the machine, you could expose only the first cassette, which we call the operational cassette. If you want access to more or all of the cassettes, then you would actually use the cassette key or the tray key. Release the tray, and this exposes all 6 of the cassettes. So the first cassette is the operational cassette, the next 4 are full cassettes that hold 1s, 5s, 20s, and 100s, and the last cassette is a split that normally holds 10s and 50s. We often do show a cassette, and when we do this, it's going to end up being manipulated. So I'll show you the operational cassette, which won't manipulate anything. So this is a full cassette. It's the same as the 1s and the 5s and all of the other cassettes except the split. And so what you'll see is that if can press and lock down the pusher. It will unlock itself as the door closes, or we can manually release it. And it is spring loaded, easy to work with. They all go back in with the handle facing towards the back of the machine. The one cassette that is slightly different is the rear cassette, and that looks exactly like you would expect it to see. So 50s on top, 10s on bottom. You do like manually move the pusher plate wherever you want that in the end. It also has a rear build path that can be checked in the event that there is any kind of a jam in the cassette, but that is not a usual circumstance. The machine can run with any of the cassettes out of it. So if you do have a broken 1s cassette or a damaged 5s cassette, you just set it aside, you continue to let the machine run. It will continue to accept those notes, but it won't be able to dispense notes from the damaged cassette. As we move on from the vault section, it is important, the TCR can only run if the vault is closed and locked. The combination doesn't have to be rotated, but it does have to be closed and locked. And this enables the TCR to run. You're going to see on the screen later a couple of exclamation points on 10s and 50s. That's because we opened that cassette while it had money in it. The next section here is the CAM section, or Customer Access Module. It's got 3 bill paths, just like a bill counter does. And so what you'll see here is a CAM input where money is put into the machine. The second one is called the CAM feeder. That's where money comes out of the machine. And the last one is called the CAM reject. And the CAM reject is really used when you're doing a deposit. If money comes out of the top of here, it's either not recognized as money, so it's a deposit slip or other piece of paper, or perhaps it really is a suspect note, and you would go through your normal process to determine what that is. As we rack this out, this is where you'll see the entirety of the bill path, and you'll be able to see how relatively easy it is for a teammate or a teller to access any parts of it. So just a quick demo of that. We like to say that each module has a latch and a handle. Some just have a handle, but we're able to separate the machine, and what you're looking at right now is a combination of the top bill path and the middle bill path. We really wouldn't expect to have any problems on the top bill path. This is where money comes out of the machine, and so any problems that we do have, we'll likely encounter them somewhere really in this 2-foot section of where notes come into the machine and go through the bill validator. This is the bill validator, the brains of the operation. It is the only thing that a teller would need to clean on a weekly basis. So we just ask that the glass screens that you see here, called CIS screens, are cleaned once a week on Fridays using nothing more than a microfiber cloth. Putting the machine back together and racking it back in is as easy as taking it apart was, and we can simply rack the TCR back in to its home position. And the last part of the TCR is the user interface, and possibly it's one of the most interesting sections of it. So on the user interface at this point in time, what you're looking at is you see a blue section next to the 1s and the 5s, as well as the 20s and 100s. That means that they have money in them, they're ready to dispense, they're completely normal. You see exclamation points next to the 10s and the 50s. That just means it's manipulated. It's not an error, it's just a status. We opened that to do a little demo of a split cassette. And so the TCR is just saying it doesn't know exactly what's in there until it's audited. So again, not an error, just a status. You also see down here divert and operational are showing E, and that just means empty. They're ready to be used, but at this point there's nothing inside of them. So if we click the error recovery key, we'll see just a reset this device. That is actually best accomplished through middleware, which we can show. Under how to, like this is the most interesting part. Some of our folks call this YouTube University. So you'll find tutorials and troubleshooting. They're very similar. The troubleshooting is a little more advanced. So we'll go into troubleshooting and we'll look at a cassette jam, which would show us how to do what we did before, that you remove the cassette, you open the cassette, it will show you how to roll a note out of the cassette if it has stuck inside of there. I'll let this run for a second, and you can see that it's just a demo of how to remove a stuck note. And what they're saying is you really don't want to pull a note out because you might tear it and create a different problem and leave a bill fragment somewhere in the system. So I'll stop that for a second, and we'll go back and take another look. So this time we'll use tutorials, and under tutorials, this is how you actually rack the machine out. So this is what we did at the first place, where we showed the upper bill path, and they are really just going to show us how we tilt away all the modules, starting with the cam and the upper module, middle module, and separate out the divert bin. Also in this section is a sensor status. So if we did have a bill stuck in the machine, you would see it would turn red where that is. And an example of that is if I have my hand or a teammate has their hand in the cam feeder, then we'll get a red dot here. Or likewise, if we had left notes on the cam input, you would see the red dot there. So it's just a great guide for how to look for a problem or a jam and exactly where to look in the system to do that. There's also a note path, which really just tells us the direction of flow of notes for both dispense and deposit. That could be useful if you're brand new to the system. In addition to that, we have an inventory button where we can look and see exactly the amount of notes that are in the system, as well as a count of notes that are in the TCR. So this would be each denomination that's in there. And so this would include notes that are in the reject box or in the operational cassette at all times. And this is reported back to the middleware system. Lastly, this machine can also serve as a currency discriminator, and for just small stacks of notes, it may be faster to use this than to go to your desktop machine. As these were test notes, they're not recognized as money, so they were all expelled out to the cam reject. If this had been real money, it would have counted that normally. We'll stop that, return the machine back to its normal position or normal condition. It also has a batch count feature, so whatever note it sees first, if you had a stack of 1s and 5s and 10s and you wanted to separate that out, whatever you showed the machine first, if a 1 was on the bottom, it would sort out all the 1s to the cam feeder and all the other denominations would go to the cam reject. That is a quick demo of a ATEC TCR. It's focused on the 380, but it works exactly the same way on the 450. Thank you for watching.